Maynard Dixon's Arizona is, to me, the quintessential Dixon. I say that because when you think about what he was doing and when he was doing it, it really is, it's amazing. Maynard Dixon didn't get to Arizona till turn of the century. Turn of the century in Arizona was a very wild and woolly place. He had to go east because California was no longer the West. San Francisco was a big, bustling city. Maynard said, I'm going to go east to see the West, and he did. And that trip occurred in August of the turn of the century. Now imagine, he was going on this trip on a horse. He had no air conditioning. He was really in a situation where he could put his life at risk. I've got this lovely drawing that Maynard Dixon did while he was in the Mojave Desert at the reservation. Now you have to think back what it was like. It's hot, it's a foreign environment, and he thrived in it. He loved it. He did this one drawing where it says, the center of creation at 122 in the shade. And that's what it was. It was hot. It was desolate. It was everything that Maynard Dixon ever wanted to see in the West. And in this one little drawing, he shows just an image of a table with some Mojave pots and some water. I really truly believe Maynard realized that he was a chronicler of what was still available in the West. And if he didn't get it right, then all the following generations are going to see really just compilations and not what he wanted them to see. Yes, he wanted real art. Yes, he wanted something that was unique and different, but he also wanted to tell the truth in his own way. And part of that truth meant portraying the people. In many cases, these were the Native Americans, but he wanted to portray them as humans and as individuals. And when you see a lot of Dixon's paintings and these early drawings, especially at Mojave, one of the things he did is he would write their names down in Mojave. And he spent the time to talk to these individuals and to show that they were very important into the whole world. And now, of course, you know, if you go out to this area, you see big wind turbines. You don't see the desert as it was. It's been basically changed forever. And we're very fortunate that Maynard picked Arizona as one of his homes, because what he was allowed us to do is to see what we have missed. Some areas are still the same, but so much of it has changed. He went back to San Francisco after his 1900 trip, and he actually did what I do. He sold Native American goods. He found this very rewarding, gave him a little extra cash, and it gave him a reason to go back to Arizona. There's this wonderful drawing that he did in 1906 of himself when they had the great earthquake in April of 1906. And it's the day after the earthquake that he shows himself running from his studio. The entire city is up in massive flames. And what does he have? He has kachinas, rugs, blankets. He saved the things that he knew that he couldn't replace. He thought that those were more important pieces of artwork than his own art. And for that reason, most things that were from 1906 and before have been lost because they went up in smoke, except some of the kachinas and rugs and things that he felt were very important. And these are all Arizona pieces. He was saving some of our Arizona history. Another drawing that I love is Maynard Dixon, and it is him as a self-portrait coming back to the desert, and it was in 1903. So he's probably worked most of the 1902-1903 time frame in San Francisco, doing great illustrations, making a living, but he wasn't in the desert. He wasn't where he really wanted to be. I have this wonderful image that has been in my collection for a long time of Dixon running basically nude with his cowboy belt around his very thin frame, a cigarette in his hand, and in it to the side it says, "Home again, the soul surely knows its own," and he circled it. He circled it because it really was home, and that was where he wanted to be. And because of this love, he spent many years coming back. So he came back again after the 1903 and 1905 and 1908. He spent a great deal of time in 1913 and 1923 and 1922. He spent time with the Navajos, and he lived with the Hopi people and went to different Hopi dances, and just got to know, again, the real Arizona, the real people of the West. And he was influenced, I think, tremendously in these wide open spaces of mesas, and they affected how he viewed the land. And it affected him how he saw the clouds. And some of his great paintings, one called Cloud World, which we have probably one of the preliminary drawings for, was thought and developed in this trip on 1923. And it stuck with him. And now we think of Maynard Dixon, or many people do, of Dixon's clouds, and that they're a specific kind of an imagery that you see when you look at a landscape. It's not just a landscape, it's a Maynard Dixon landscape, or the clouds are Dixon-esque. And we hear these terms all the time by artists, and it's not uncommon for a painter today to refer to Maynard Dixon and say that he was influenced by seeing this, because Dixon was the first. He saw it, he painted it, he chronicled it, and he was very gifted as well. And all those things led to a very important painter of the American West. Tucson and Dixon. That's where my connection comes in, actually. I ended up doing my residency here at the University of Arizona and fell in love with Tucson just like Maynard did. And one of the reasons I've spent a great deal of time and now money collecting Dixons, and specifically Maynard Dixons that were of Tucson, is because there is, I think, a bond and a connection that I feel for what Maynard does. When I look at his paintings of, say, the Late Light of the Catalinas done in 1943, I see my home. I see Tucson as it was 60 years ago. These are great paintings because you see these mountains, and they're just as majestic as they were in 1943, less all the houses. There's no houses. When Dixon was painting, he was in the middle of nowhere. He was at the edge of town up by Prince and Tucson Boulevard. He lived in an adobe home that was made with land that he got from the Ronstadt family. There's a great little painting that we have showing the house, the Ronstadt house, called At Home. But I think a lot of the paintings that he did, these wonderful landscapes, were done for him. And luckily for us, they were done for us. So Maynard Dixon, Arizona, it's a special place in my heart. I think it was a special place in Maynard Dixon's heart. And you can see it at the Maynard Dixon Museum here in Tucson, Arizona, Medicine Man Gallery.